And welcome back, everyone, to part 7 of What If Goku Was Adopted by the Ox King. Last time on the Dragon Ball Z What If, they finally defeated the dastardly Frieza on planet Namek. I'd forgotten that I'd given Vegeta his tail back. Not that actually would have mattered in the context of the fight, really. Because Vegeta, frankly, just wasn't strong enough to do anything, even as a great ape. Even and Raditz, frankly, wasn't able to do anything except distract Frieza for a brief moment. But yeah, so Goku also learned Super Saiyan, and we basically went back to Namek. I also had a little bit of a fun moment with Krillin disciplining the tutor for Gohan. But beyond that, we have the arrival of Trunks. Now, during this time period, would Goku have finally gotten Super Saiyan under control? Yeah, he probably would have figured it out. That's years now that Goku's not on the planet. So I do think, or say is on the planet to train. So I think he figures it out. So he does have now Super Saiyan under his belt. Great, wonderful. What about Vegeta and Raditz? Well, Vegeta definitely heads back into space to train, get stronger. Unfortunately, he's now going to always be playing catch up with Goku. Raditz, though, is now staying on the planet. He's staying with Goku, who generally lives on his own, but they hang out, they do brotherly thing. He's getting to know the group. He does offer his apologies. Like, he's legitimately kind of warming up to these people, and he sees a mentally strong, competent female in Bulma. So I think this version of Trunks probably comes a little bit later, or earlier, I should say, down the line. And is probably the son of Raditz and Bulma. So Vegeta does still come back, still still probably tries to assert his authority over Raditz. Raditz, I'm staying with you. No, you will not be staying with. No, Vegeta, you're not staying with us. I was like, I'm giving you an order, and I'm telling you to F off. Raditz, are you sure you want to do this right now? Judge Raditz just stares him down. He's like, are you certain I haven't gotten stronger as well? Or it'd be along and say, you don't know how strong I've gotten since I've been out there in space, Raditz. That goes two ways, Vegeta. Tell me, how much stronger do you honestly think I am since you've been gone for so long? To which he does kind of like pause a little bit and think, no, he couldn't possibly be stronger than me. You don't, stronger than me. That's impossible. I've been training with Kakarot for a while now, as well as adapting some of our tech into to Capsule Corp's technology. Yeah, tell me, have you ever heard of the gravity chamber? It's quite useful indeed. Now you will stand down, Vegeta. Oh, come on. And Bulma shows up, like, oh, come on, Red, just let him stay. He's like, fine, very well. No, you've got such a big heart. It's like, whatever. Stop it, woman. I could actually see him being a little bit more tender with Bulma than Vegeta is. Vegeta, we know, loves his family. He does. But we don't see him being very, like, affectionate with his family. Like, I'm sure, obviously, him and Bulma certainly get it on. They have a very, probably, healthy sex life, if we're going to be honest. But in terms of actual intimacy, Vegeta is not an intimate man. I could see Raditz being a little bit more intimate. And Goku and Gohan is the most intimate. He's the most affectionate and snuggly wuggly. Goku doesn't really understand these things very well. Probably is like the fourth or third most intimate man among the Saiyans. Although I could see Broly kind of turning into that. Anyway, so we eventually would catch back up to Trunks showing up on Earth. And again, he probably ends up coming into contact with King Cold, who eventually had found out where Earth was. Unfortunately, he would also be killed by Trunks in that scenario as well. Which leads to, Goku, wait, Goku, you're already here? And what? Yeah, of course, why wouldn't I be here? Wait, and you have your tail. Wait, and there's Father. Wait, who are you? It's like, I'm Raditz. And who are you exactly? I need to talk with Goku for a moment, if that's okay. Anything you can say to me, you can say to them. I really can't. sounding a little bit more like Krillin at the moment. Well, no, Krillin sounds a little bit more high pitched than that, whereas Trunks sounds a little bit more down here. It's subtle, but there's a change in it. And he kind of explains the scenario. Piccolo overhears it. And wait, you're Vegeta's kid, but you look so much like Raditz and Bulma's kid. Wait, Raditz, Bulma? Wait, what? And he's just like, oh no. And he kind of sits down and like, this isn't good. The timeline's all messed up. I was like, what do you mean? Mom was afraid of this. It would seem that time travel is a lot more complicated than we initially thought. Still, though, maybe I could still help this future out. Which, again, Trunks ultimately, when you actually stop and think about it, Trunks going to the past didn't change anything, except for giving Trunks the opportunity to get strong enough to handle the androids in his timeline. The timeline, sadly, were just separated. You could not change the events. Excuse me. So Goku and the gang, and he overhears, or he's told what to do. Trunks also basically says, look, this didn't go the way I thought it would go. The truth is, and he actually explains it to everyone, minus the whole who was his parentage issue. It's like, why should we believe you? I have no reason to lie to you. Plus, I did just kill King Cold, so there is that. He has a point there. And so, ultimately, he still gives Goku the heart medicine, and they still go about their way training for the androids. Now, really, the training is mostly Raditz and Goku. Piccolo might join in, but he's probably doing his own training. Gohan's not a part of this. All the other Z-Fighters are kind of training in their own way. This would ultimately lead to Vegeta coming back. No, he's Super Saiyan. And I could very much imagine Raditz getting Super Saiyan at some point in this scenario as well through training with Goku, who was also training. But more importantly, trying to train with Ozaru. Like Raditz getting control of his 8 form. It's like, come on, you can do it! And Goku being in Super Saiyan to basically keep him under control so he doesn't rage out and attack people. And I could see at minimum Goku and Raditz getting the Ozaru state under control, at least until Goku tries again to do the Super Saiyan Ozaru and realizes the power is just too insane. Like, something's wrong, something's off here. Like, I can't do it. And so, right now, he can't access Super Saiyan 4. He can't. He can't also access Super Saiyan Ozaru. At least not unless it's like a last-ditch effort kind of thing. Raditz is basically got Ozaru down. And like I said, I think he can get the Super Saiyan form down with enough training. So when the androids show up, Goku... Unfortunately, I think Goku hasn't been taking his medication all in this version either. Like, he's got no one... Like, Raditz might be like, Kakarot, how are you feeling? Like, the day before it's supposed to happen, he asks, how are you feeling? I'm still feeling pretty good, honestly. I'm a little out of breath, but it's okay. You're out of breath. Goku, perhaps you take that medicine the time traveler gave you. Oh, okay, I guess just to be preemptive. That doesn't mean he'd be immediately cured. Even after he got the heart virus and was given the medicine for it, he again was given the medicine for it. He still took him days to recover. So I don't see him being immediately cured from it. But it does mean that he probably isn't going to collapse in the same way he did in the fight against 19. Speaking of which, we get to that moment. They fly off. Goku, though, arguably is stronger here than he was then, especially with the Ozaru transformation in the tail. So they does Goku, wait, don't do energy. They absorb energy into their hands. And why didn't you tell us that prior? Sorry, I had a hole in the chest. What about on the way here? I saw a really nice thing. I was distracted. Yeah, Yamcha, you might have had a hole in your chest. Good valid excuse, honestly. Until the hole was gone and you followed them to the fight site. So, yeah, Yamcha, you dropped the ball on that, my friend. This is why you're even more hated than Krillin. So Goku struggles more with 19 than he did in the original. But that's because 19 gets an energy boost. And Goku is tiring out, but he's not suffering yet. Rad's looking on. He must need more than medication. Kakarot, tag me in. It's like, are you sure? You're in no condition for it. You're too tired. But no, I can. Kakarot. Fine, and just Charles said, giving up already. That's not the way this fight works, son Goku. Yes, you are all die. It's like, no. It's like, really, I think it's time to end this. Unfortunately, Kakarot's suffering from a little bit of a condition at the moment, so I'll be your opponent now. Powers up. And turns out so he can also do it. And unlike Goku before, he knows not to use energy attacks. Kakarot, lend me your handles, those axe handles. Like, right. It's like, you should have used them from the beginning. Sorry, I guess I was just not thinking about it. And said, here, Goku, take your mess, and I'll be okay. And then he comes in. He's like, now let's end this. And quickly he just comes in. Just, get that. I can't remember that. I'm trying to remember that sound they made, like for like a quick motion or movement. It's like, oh, what is just take your arm off. So tell me, android, does a machine like yourself experience fear? Giving Vegeta's line. Vegeta would show up later too. It's like, so you think you've gotten strong, have you? Wait till I show you what I can do. And so, he ultimately takes down 19. Now you're next. Jiro gets out of there. They have to fly after him, but Goku has to stay behind. He's like, no, Goku, you can't go anywhere. It's like, no, I gotta help. No, you're staying right here. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, you win. Still, they go after Jiro. I do think Jiro does make it to the his lab, though. So he does ultimately activate 17 and 18. Raditz and Vegeta are there, and they unfortunately get their asses kicked in. Like, even being stronger now than they were in the original, especially for Goku, 17 and 18 are, frankly, I think, a little too much for Raditz and Vegeta, particularly Vegeta, who's still in a weaker version now than he was in the original series, gets his teeth kicked in by 18. 17, and Raditz and Trunks both are trying, and Raditz is, I think, the strongest of the three of them, but even he just can't do anything. Now, at this point, it does beg the question, does Piccolo have the wherewithal and the moral, let's call it, drive to go to Kami to talk about fusing with him? Would he still want to do that? I don't personally think I think Piccolo's attitude's been curbed, but because he doesn't have Go-On there to really get him all the way, I think if he does go, it's out of desperation. Like, they know if Goku is sick, Goku can recover. That's all well and good. And Goku probably wouldn't be hiding for very long comparatively. Like, he wouldn't be he might like sleep it off, but ultimately he would recover from the heart virus, and this would make him stronger. And it probably wouldn't take as long because he's kind of already been preemptively taking it now. But it still leads into Cell showing up, no one being prepared for him. Kami does mention to Piccolo come up. This might be where they have no choice but to fuse, but even then Piccolo isn't as strong here as he is in the original. So their fusion, while impressive, would not be as powerful as it would be in the original. So when they go to confront Cell, they are in... I mean, granted, Cell was also actually weaker than Piccolo at that point, as it turns out. He hadn't absorbed enough people to really be a threat. But Piccolo still might not be as strong as Cell, but he's strong enough to give Cell problems. And especially when Trunks and Raditz probably end up showing up and to confront him, like, nope, I gotta get out of here. And so he F's off. Piccolo versus 17 does not go in Piccolo's favor as well. He's not as strong as 17 here. He just isn't. Great, he can still give 17 a pretty solid fight, I'd imagine, but he's just not as strong. Meanwhile, Goku and the gang basically go up to the hyperbolic time chamber. We know Raditz and Goku would be going into the hyperbolic time chamber this time around, not Goku and Gohan. We know Vegeta and Trunks are first to go. And unfortunately, there is no instant transmission in this version, which means Piccolo might end up. Well, Piccolo was barely alive. So they might be able to. What's the best way to put it? They might be able to go rescue him, like send someone after Cell leaves the area. Yeah, but unfortunately, they're not really able to save Tien or Piccolo in this same fashion. I think Tien doesn't make it out this time around. But Piccolo just barely survived. We know that. So we're able to get him up there, get him healed with a Senzu bean. So that's at least good. Eventually, we know Vegeta and Trunks make it out of there. Vegeta and Trunks go. Honestly, all that goes about the same, except for the fact that Krillin is still around, is given the device, and Krillin's married. He's not going to be as seduced by Chi-Chi or by 18 or at all, really. Before I say, please don't kill anyone. If you must, I'm gonna be forced to stop you. That's cute. You're cute. Mwah. It's like, I can see that happening. It's like, I appreciate it, but I'm a married man. So is he? I mean, does he not hesitate here? I think because this Krillin actually has a wife and kids, I don't think he hesitates. I think he just boom blows up 18 and maybe 16 too, along with it. Because they never specified, by the way, which bomb it activated. It might just be the fact that it might just activate all of them, and we know for a fact that that kaboom was going to be big. So boo, and I believe the Cell has a self-destruct sequence too. So would it blow up? But Cell is bioorganic or biomechanical. So I don't know if his self-destruct is because he just decided to detonate himself, or if he did in fact have a bomb inside of him. I don't know. I actually don't know that. I think he maybe had a bomb in him, but either way, it still probably wouldn't kill him because of the whole nucleus thing. But ultimately, he destroyed 18 and 16, or at the very minimum 18, and because 16 is right next to her, he gets destroyed too. And it's like, no, sex to be you, and they just kill Cell because of that. But Goku and Red still would come out of the hyperbolic time chamber, would perfect a Super Saiyan. But beyond that, I think the whole Ozaru training would benefit them the most. I think they're pushing their Ozaru training to the limit, to the point where they might actually be able to handle a Super Saiyan Ozaru at this point. Now, that being said, the road to Super Saiyan 4 is still a bit off, but it doesn't matter because they come out and they're stronger than both Trunks and Vegeta, which pisses Vegeta off. It's like, damn it, how are you so strong? It's like, well, we trained. It's like, we trained too. How did you do it? And so, yeah, ultimately, Cell is kind of taken care of, but so is 18. And I mean, they probably do go to Namek to get Dragon Balls, I imagine. But they have to talk to, but it has to be through a trip to go find Dende and then coming back. But with permission from the Namekians, they agree to it, and therefore they have Dragon Balls again. So that would lead us into the 7-year time skip, which definitely would yield Super Saiyan 2, and maybe even, with 7 years of training, because that's what Goku would really be doing. Him finally accessing Super Saiyan 4 as a form. I could see that happening in that way, because that's 7 years of training. In 7 years, even though it was with a deceased body without basic human limitations, he was able to get Super Saiyan 3. But because he's already got access to things like the Ozaru, Super Saiyan Ozaru, all that, and the way he accessed it initially, I could see this, I could see it being, I'm sorry, I'm getting a draft from somewhere. I'm literally feeling the draft. So I'm trying to figure out where it is. It's very likely he would have that down. So when we get to the Buu Saga, there'd be a lot of similarities here. Again, Krillin is actually the real martial arts champion of the world, keep in mind, because that's the extra prize money he's been getting for his family. And so maybe they don't participate, except they know Krillin is, so they just show up and watch. Uh, it's interesting to think how that would work. But and Gohan also would not be the Golden Fighter. Like, he just would be a student. So it's interesting in that aspect how the Buu Saga will end up going. We're got maybe 10 more minutes. I can probably go another 10 minutes. So let's think about it this way. The Supreme Kai shows up looking for Majin Buu. They don't find even a lot of really strong fighters in the tournament. They sense the Saiyans and a lot of the strongest fighters are actually in the crowd. So they're trying to figure out how to lure them out. And so Yamu and Spopovich probably are like going after Krillin. He shows off his strength, how strong he really is. But yeah, I don't know exactly who they would go after in the long haul. Like maybe they would try to get Raditz or Trunks or something like that. Trunks would definitely be fighting in the junior division. I could see Goten being born and Goten fighting in there, but unfortunately Trunks is a Saiyan, so he just loses. I could see Bra also being born within this timeline, being a much younger or a much earlier iteration of the characters the world was looking for. Even if they go, like they fly after the Yamu and Spopovich, you have 4 Saiyans there. Well, not even Trunks isn't there. But you have 3 Saiyans, a Namekian who's fused. Yeah, they show up and they pretty much just wreak shop. Even with Vegeta probably going Majin Vegeta, which he would. I do see that happening. He, frankly, wouldn't be. Goku would basically just kind of put him in his place with Super Saiyan for showing it off and showing off Super Saiyan 4 and just kind of boom, putting him in the ground. And then basically confronting, because putting him in the ground with Super Saiyan 4 means Boo's not waking up. Not even close to waking up. So they're going to actually prevent Buu waking up. Which then would lead us all the way in this and then take down Babidi. I'm speed blitzing through this a little bit, but I think it's actually frankly important because there's not a lot of detail that we'd be overlooking here. Vegeta still pissed off, whatever, keeps trading. Dragon Ball Super happens. Goku doesn't have instant transmission. He just doesn't. So it's one of those things where Goku is on Earth when Beerus shows up, but there's no Buu here, which means the pudding incident doesn't happen. I think Goku still wants to try his luck against Beerus. Beerus says, okay, shows off Super Saiyan 4. Beerus is actually impressed by this power, even more so than Super Saiyan 3, as it is actually able to push him a little bit. Not like truly push him, but he's actually putting some effort in. Maybe even takes a shot, and he's actually surprised by how strong like the hit is. So I do think that's likely, but then the whole concept of the Super Saiyan God is brought up. They do have enough Saiyans because you have Trunks, Bra, you have Goku, you have Vegeta, you have Raditz. Ooh, actually, I may have to take that back. Do they have enough Saiyans? I mean, would Vegeta had taken a wife at any point? I mean, probably not, because there's not many characters, unless Launch for some reason comes back in the fray, which that would be random. There actually isn't enough characters or female characters to make a Super Saiyan God happen here, which is problematic. But we know they did confirm Tarble was a thing, so I could still see Tarble happening. Man, where's that draft coming from? I can literally feel the cold air. So where the fuck is it coming from? Yeah. So anyway, sorry, the draft is really, because we just had the heating guy come in and try to fix a thing in the basement. It's one of those things where it was just a temporary fix. I'm not sure. I don't know why the heat isn't currently on. Maybe I'll have to turn the thermostat up just a little bit to get the heat going. Let's see here. Anyway, think words. So they might have to jury rig a Super Saiyan God here. They might have to do that. I mean, they already had to, but I mean, they really might have to go out of their way to find one more Saiyan to jury rig a Super Saiyan God. Oh, no, he just came on. Okay. So, yeah, but when they go, I mean, it's Beerus too. They probably want to appease him in some way. So maybe trying to go find Tarble, and Goku becomes a Super Saiyan God, and they have their fight. But it's a lot more of a friendly fight as opposed to a threat to destroy the planet. So yeah, I would say it's probably more akin to that. Like Goku, they're just enjoying themselves. So I actually don't think there's even a Resurrection F that happens in this movie or in this fight or in this version of the story. Frieza's long since been gone, and his forces are pretty much all gone. And I mean gone. Not cut to pieces gone. I mean gone. So I just don't know if Frieza is going to be brought back, or King Cold for that matter. So yeah, even if there is, Goku would have probably been training on, and Vegeta, Raditz, and Goku probably all would have gone and trained to get Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. So all you would have really is a version of this fight where all three of them are there, and it goes more or less the same. And then you would get into the Tournament of Power. Again, Raditz, Goku, and Vegeta, they'd be your MVPs in this scenario. Goku would still want to fight Hit, though. So, yeah, that's more or less how I think that would it'd probably still go about the same. Like at this point, we're hitting issues of the plot isn't actively changing that much. Just the players are changing. Raditz, for example, Raditz, Vegeta, and Goku dealing with Goku Black, Zamasu. You would get probably a different fusion with, say, Radito or Kakariz, because I imagine they'd be the fusion, not Vegeta. But even with his weapons, they're not going to be able to really kill Zamasu, unfortunately, just because of the nature of Zamasu. So Zeno still would come, which would ultimately lead to the Tournament of Power. And it would basically be Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, Piccolo, Roshi, Tien, Krillin, and then you're kind of in a bit of a shit luck here, because they don't have a big enough roster anymore to really let this happen. Yeah, Trunks is a little bit older, but I don't know if that really helps at all. Yeah, I don't know if it helps at all here. So they might be playing with a couple players down. Maybe they go out of their way to resurrect Frieza. Sure. But I'm not entirely sure if that's what would be the ultimate game plan here. So Tournament of Power probably is not as balanced as it may seem. Yeah, you got 3 Super Saiyan Blues, plus Goku's probably learned to merge the Super Saiyan God power into Super Saiyan 4, so you get the Super Saiyan God Primal, which would be strong enough, I think, to contend with Jiren to some degree. But ultimately, I don't see it winning him the fight. It would push him harder, and therefore he has to do the Spirit Bomb, which he would still have here. And it would still end the same way with him going Ultra Instinct. I think he would still get the team-ups, but it would be Raditz and Vegeta. I just don't know if it's likely they would win the match, because there's less of them to focus on, and therefore there's less of them. It's quicker for them to be disqualified, basically. Now, the right that they were disqualified, there was only like 3 of them left by the end of the tournament when they fought Jiren for the final fight. Even then, it was implied that we assumed at that time that Goku was the only one left. So at the rate they were going down, if Goku is knocked out in the same manner he's knocked out here, that's the end of Universe 7. And therefore, it's going to be the end of all universes, because we know Jiren wasn't going to resurrect the universes. So it could be a dark ending, actually. Even if we assume for a moment that they did win, which the universe is back, we get into Broly. Broly just shows off how powerful he is. You just get a different fusion with Vegeta and Raditz again, or Goku and Raditz again. And then Dragon Ball Superhero, again, they're kind of effed because they betray the strongest fighters in the series are all on Beerus's planet at that point. And honestly, Gohan's not a Saiyan. So, honestly, you're probably getting a dark end regardless because they're just not going to be strong enough to take down certain foes at this point. Which I still find it weird that an earth scientist is able to make machines strong enough to actually contend with godlike individuals. I find that really insane for the Dragon Ball universe. Either way, though, I think that's where we're going to end it. Did I just jump around and kind of fast forward enough to get to the end of the series? Yes, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't know if there was going to be a lot of change, quite frankly, beyond that. That's the biggest issue, frankly, with the Dragon Ball universe what ifs. The early parts are where the biggest changes come from. And then they can lead to some big changes, but it's such a linear story as opposed to a lot of the nuances of what's going on within Naruto or Bleach or My Hero. And My Hero's got the problem of it focuses so much not on Deku sometimes that having a change where Deku is the focal of the change can be very, very difficult for storytelling sometimes. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll put a poll up it'll be already been up for the next one. Keep your eyes out for it. Until then, thanks for watching. See you next time.